The readings today are very focused and are calling us to be focused. When people tell me that they're going to try and do something, I say you might as well just stop now. Because as soon as you say you're going to try something, you've already given yourself permission to fail. Look how many diets I've tried. See, case in point. Until you commit to something to make it work, it isn't going to work. And so as we look at the readings, that follows us directly through. Elisha gets rid of everything. He breaks all the stuff so it cannot go back. Kills the animals, boils the meat so they have stuff to eat, and follows Elijah. In the gospel, Jesus is being very clear. You have to be focused on what God is calling you and where God is calling you to be. Period. And the idea of the plowshare, I actually got at something somewhere to try and pull one of those things, push that behind the animal, like a little ox drawn with a little wedge, that plowshare. It isn't easy. Just to get it moving and digging in the dirt is not easy. And this was dirt all dug up already for a demonstration. But what I can relate it to is when I was in college, I love driving things, probably why I have a bus license and everything else. And so Brother Daniel taught me how to drive the tractor so I could mow, and eventually I conned him into letting me drive the Bobcat. And I love doing all that stuff. Well, as we get on, Father Daniel comes out one day after I'd mowed this big lawn and says, "You will not be able to help on the farm." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Your lines aren't straight." I said, "Yes, they are." And he takes me to the end of the row, and they were straight for me. And he goes, "No, you have to stay focusing straight ahead all the time." So you're driving along and you go, "Oh, squirrel." And as the tractor turns, that's not appropriate for planting seeds and things like that. For mowing and snow removal, it is just fine. Well, unless you're like my dad and you're sort of neurotic that all the lines are in a row. But that focus of where we look is where we end up. That's also the same concept that unifies us as the body of Christ. Uche was here for a few masses earlier today. We can pray for him. He's driving back up to Longview. And you look at just the difference between his parishes that he had in Nigeria and here. They go for 3 hours. If we go much longer than 1 hour, we're in trouble. And all the differences from that point on. And that's just the beginning of it. You go down into other parts of Africa, Asia, and who we are as Christian and Catholic varies greatly. But it's that single focus that unites us. All of us working for the kingdom of heaven and the everlasting life and the joy that we're promised with that. On Friday, the Supreme Court, after 49 years, overturned Roe v. Wade. A lot of people are thinking of victory. We finally have it. I'm sorry. No. That is just the beginning. In our state, it means an end to abortion, except for in extreme medical situations, which is what the church teaches. But we can't just say, okay, we've done it. Because then all those people that are trying to say there's a reason for abortion will come back at us and say, see, we told you so. We have to be here to support everyone, every couple, every woman that gets pregnant. We need to let them know that although they can't get a legal abortion, and although some companies might want to fly their people one place or another, we're here to help them make a choice for life that they can live with for the rest of their lives. I wish I could in good conscience record some of the conferences I've had with people that have had abortions and the effect that it's had on their lives. So we have to be there first to support. And then the other part of that is we have to also realize that we have to educate. I'm seeing all this stuff about all this rights for procreation, all this other stuff, and I'm thinking, whoa, we're talking about one thing, terminating a life. So we have to help with that. But in that, we have to look at ourselves and how do we really say we support life? It's easy to say we're anti-abortion. As I've told you many times, when a politician comes up to me and says, I'm pro-life, my first question is always, what are you going to do about the issues in Huntsville? And they say, well, innocent life. And then we go to elder abuse and all those other things. Because life is not just being anti-abortion. If you go to the 27th chapter of Gaudium et Spes, one of the documents from the Second Vatican Council, there is a list that is almost that big in really tiny print of all the ways in which we need to respect life. And it isn't just for the unborn. It's respecting life in every way it comes to me, to us, in every part of the world, and everyone who is created in the image and likeness of God, which, by the way, is the set of all human beings. We respect that. In their socioeconomic state, in their country of origin, whatever the list may be, we support them. From the homeless person on the street to the person with no faith that comes at us and tells us that we're wasting our time, we respect the gift of life, that each one of us is loved the same amount by God. And when we start living that life where everybody can see in us that all life is sacred, no qualifiers, all life is sacred, we have more credence when we help people understand that terminating the life of a baby before it's born just can't be. But if we just come up on the one topic, we do lose some of our credibility. Because the issue is life. And who has the choice of when it's okay to terminate a life? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Or what about, oh, you're 60. We're going to start evaluating how much it costs to keep you alive. And as you get older, as the prices go up, you either start forking up some money or you're going to end up getting knocked off because it's just too expensive. It's inconvenient for you to be here. All life is sacred. We don't ever start ever again allowing that line to be drawn of where it is and isn't. If it is created in the image and likeness of God, that life is sacred. How we live our lives, how we support those that have the most difficult decisions, some of the most difficult decisions in the world to make, how we're there with them, how we help them. And by the way, Catholic Charities already does this. Nobody who is pregnant is ever turned away from Catholic Charities. I have 2 adopted nephews. My sister wanted a lot of kids, but after the cost and the time of adopting her first, they didn't have the time or resources to adopt another. That is, adoption is such a viable option. Many parents desire to keep their kids, and I can never get out of my mind when people say, what about when the woman is assaulted? And I remember the young lady who comes to me as she's coming into the church with this most amazing son, and she talks about forgiveness, how she had to forgive the biological father of her child because she couldn't live with hatred and teach her child to love. And if that young lady who was just barely 20 when she made that choice can do that, that challenges all of us to that deeper level of love, that deeper level of accepting the world as God brings it to us and working at being who God has truly called us to be. The Dobbs decision isn't a victory. It lays a foundation for us to continue the work of the gospel, being that presence of Christ to everybody we encounter, and supporting those people that feel that this is a horrific decision and that it's ruined their lives, supporting them if they get in a difficult place, and helping them realize that life, in all its ways, is a gift from God, and it's not our choice what we do with that.